Students, welcome to another Mr. Ness screencast. Today's aim is consumerism and conformity in the 1950s, and here are your objectives. Please pause the video, look these questions over, and get ready to copy some vocab terms and take some notes. In today's video, we are going to look at some social trends in 1950s America, and the first trend is consumerism, also called consumer culture. Consumerism is a culture in which social status, values, and daily activities are focused on buying. And another way to think about this is consumerism is the belief that happiness can be obtained by buying things. Consumerism increased in America in the 1950s because of post-war economic prosperity. After World War II, Americans had more money and were eager to spend it on different products. And mass media, including the new technology of television, gave companies opportunities to advertise their products. And you see some of those advertisements here. Now let's look at a second trend in 1950s America called conformity. So norms are behaviors that society considers normal or correct. And conformity means obeying norms. In other words, conformity means following the crowd, doing as others do, and doing as you are expected to do. The opposite of conformity is individuality. And that means expressing one's true nature regardless of what others think is correct. I want you to take a moment and think about the conflict between conformity and individuality. Which one do you value more? Do you tend to follow the crowd more, or do you freely express what makes you different from others? And what about from a societal perspective? Do you think that it's better for society if most people conform? Or is it better if most people express their individuality? During the 1950s, a sense of conformity, not individuality, dominated middle-class society. The ideal lifestyle to which Americans were expected to conform was that of a white, middle-class family in the suburbs. Men were expected to be the breadwinners, and women, even when they worked, assumed that their proper place was at home. Parents had 2 children, and every family aspired to live in their own suburban home. Television advertising and consumerism contributed to the homogenizing trend by providing young and old with a shared experience that reflected accepted social patterns. In his influential 1950 book, The Lonely Crowd, sociologist David Reesman noted that conformist societies can create stability. And certainly for many middle-class Americans who had lived through the Great Depression and World War II, the calm and orderly life of the suburbs was a welcome calm after the storm. The uniform design of suburbs, which you see on the right here, may have also encouraged conformity. Suburbs were mass-produced, with every house looking mostly the same as the next one. Since people bought the same mass-produced goods and lived in the same identical mass-produced houses, it might have been easier for them to follow the crowd than to stand out. But not everyone conformed. People of color locked out of the suburbs made their own lives in cities, and gays and lesbians risked oppression to pursue love. And members of a movement known as the Beat Generation celebrated resistance to suburban middle-class life in the 1950s. Here are 3 of the most famous members of the Beat Generation: William S. Burroughs, Allen Ginsberg, and Jack Kerouac. All 3 of these men were writers. Burroughs and Kerouac were novelists, and Ginsberg was a poet. In their works, they celebrated controversial behaviors like drug use and homosexuality, and they criticized mainstream ideas like Christianity and consumerism. The followers of the Beat generation, called the Beats, lived in ways that the mainstream society considered incorrect. And now it's time to review the objectives. If you don't know the answer to any of them, just rewind the video and look again. And I will see you in class.